There comes a moment in life when you suddenly hear yourself clearly, when you realize that the voice holding you back isn't the world, but the one living rent-free in your own head. That was the moment everything shifted for me. I can finally look back and see that my life changed for the better the moment I stopped being my own harshest critic and became my own best friend instead. One day, I simply started listening, really listening, to my thoughts, to that moody, perpetually dissatisfied inner voice insisting that nothing I did was ever enough, ever right, ever on time. It sounded like a boss who's never happy with your work, constantly cutting your wage, piling on more tasks, and comparing you to coworkers who are apparently thriving and never complaining. So I finally stepped up, confronted this imaginary boss, and quit that imaginary job, the one that kept me running toward a goal that, even when reached, never came with a promotion. The first weight I dropped was the nightly to-do list trial. Every evening, right before falling asleep, I would mentally review everything I intended to do versus everything I actually did. And for years, the only grades I ever gave myself were poor performance or you can do better. I fell asleep with the image of tasks piling up for the next day, a snowball of unfinished business endlessly rolling forward. So I fired that grumpy, never satisfied boss in my head and replaced him with someone calmer, kinder, and far more reasonable. Then I stopped judging myself based on a mirror reflection. I made peace with not needing to look perfect. I stopped starving myself every time my favorite jeans felt a bit tighter. I made peace with aging, with discovering new white hairs, with noticing new wrinkles. I accepted that skirts and painfully high heels no longer represent who I am, and that there is absolutely nothing wrong with t-shirts and comfortable sneakers. I allowed myself not to wear makeup all the time, not to paint my nails because I had nothing to hide and no beauty contest to win. Letting go of those imposed standards dramatically shortened my daily to-do list and raised my self-acceptance to a new level. I stopped feeling awkward when someone asked why I cut my hair so short. The answer is simple: practicality. And I'm not talking about becoming sloppy. I'm talking about becoming real, a bit more efficient and true to myself, with a healthy dose of I don't care what other people think. I also stopped believing that I'm somehow failing at life if I don't wake up at 5 a.m. to meditate and do yoga. The alarm clock didn't make me spiritually aligned, it just ruined my morning. I started allowing myself to pause during my weekly cleaning sessions. I accepted that I can't do it all in one go anymore. 4 hours of frantic scrubbing and vacuuming against the clock. A spotless house used to be one of my most painful obsessions. I never went to bed with dishes in the sink. I never skipped cleaning day. I couldn't walk past a tiny speck on my beige carpet without picking it up. And between you and me, that habit hasn't changed. I still wash my coffee mug as soon as I'm finished drinking it, but I've accepted that cleaning the house takes longer now than it did in my 20s. I started allowing myself to take a nap in the middle of the day if I had a rough week, or simply if I felt like it. You can go to bed early instead never actually worked. And yes, sometimes I mute my phone too. Life always felt heavier when I denied myself rest, but resting instead of checking off another chore always made me feel guilty and unproductive until I stopped letting it. I stopped saying yes to invitations out of politeness or obligation. I stopped sending Christmas cards to people who never replied and who honestly didn't mean much to me. I allowed myself to stay home, read a book, sip my coffee, take a long walk with my dog, or simply do nothing, because I finally accepted that I'm allowed to choose how I spend my time, and that solitude on a Sunday afternoon is not being antisocial. I allowed myself not to laugh at jokes that weren't funny, not to plaster a fake smile on my face when entering a room full of people, not to say yes to people asking for favors but who never returned them when I needed help. I learned to give honest answers even when the truth was slightly uncomfortable. I stopped trying to win arguments, explain myself, or change someone's mind, even when I knew they were about to make a bad decision. I stopped comparing myself to others, to their lives, to what normal people do. I started allowing myself to simply be me. I stopped throwing big birthday parties, spending the day before cooking, and buying a new outfit for the occasion. Instead, I invited my best friend over, baked a carrot cake together, and shared it with her and my dog, and with the sweet old lady next door because she's lonely and she always waters my plants when I'm away. So tell me, do you allow yourself to let go of the things that make you feel like time is never enough? The things that no longer belong to who you are now? How does it feel to be a little more authentic, a little more compassionate with yourself? Let me know what you've chosen to put down and what you've chosen to keep. I'm still learning what truly matters, and I'd love to learn from you too. These are my thoughts for today. Over and out.